True or false? You're the better twin and player out of yourself and George. How's the vibe? What's the vibe like at Souths at the moment?
Yeah, it's, we've been positive. Obviously, it's not gone to plan this year.
Well, your former coach, Michael Maguire, is obviously the head coach for New South Wales. Do you think he'll be the right man for the job?
It's hard to say because obviously he's used to coaching through the whole season and you get the pre-season and that. But
Forgive me, but the Super League aren't really progressing.
no, and there's a lot of things, a lot of factors.
I've really been pushing and been a number one advocate for Sam to kind of really come back to South. I feel like he'll be the number one coach going forward.
Whether it's at South or another club, I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll have plenty of clubs looking for his signature.
Okay, if you were born 4 years ago, how old are you? Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on Let's Trot, episode 32, with a very big and important friend of mine, Thomas Burgess. How are you, mate?
Sauce. Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, what happened to your face?
Oh, you won't know about this, but in the middle of the ground, you actually get your head into tackles and sometimes your skin comes off. But
I'm just going to have a quick guess. You didn't come off second best, did you?
yeah, I came off second best.
You did. You did. What happened?
Nah, to be honest, I don't know. I think you just, in training as well, it comes off in training. So it happens in the game all week, it comes off in training.
There was someone you had a head clash with in training. Oh, was it 90? What happened with 90 in 2021 at training? You took his ankle out or something. What? Something happened.
I don't know.
He's
always complaining about something. So.
But it was always you. You were the kamikaze. You just used to wipe everyone.
Nah, I was George. I think you get me confused with George.
George wasn't there when I came.
Any bad things that happen, it was George. Any good things, it was me, all right?
I believe it. And obviously you're repping the RLPA sweater there.
Yes, mate.
What's your role, mate?
For the players.
What's your role?
RLPA, for the players.
Love it. Love it.
I suppose my role at the moment is I'm on the player advisory board, but I've always been a delegate for players at Souths. So getting the messages across to the players. So I've always been passionate about that ever since I came from England, because I think for me, I realise how important it is. Becoming from England, like we have no support,
about to say.
nothing and the game does struggle over there. So when I came over here and I saw all these like avenues for support and if the players want to do it, that'll be really good. And I thought I want to get involved with that. So that's one thing I think when I go back to England, I'll try and help.
Well, when we first started, it was fucking non-existent. Really?
Yeah, but also it's non-existent if the players just can't be arsed with it.
Yeah.
So I think it does take a bit of effort and a bit of time, and people sometimes you have to go to meetings that you really can't be asked doing but the effort is paid off. I think the last CBA was the best, and it's always going to keep going, getting better. But that's not always the case. Like in England, it's probably gone downhill since I've come here.
I want to speak about England, the comparisons with the Super League and NRL.
Yeah,
I feel like, forgive me, but the Super League aren't really progressing.
No, and there's a lot of things, a lot of factors. Obviously, that massively competing with all the the Premier League people, like obviously the sponsors of them and all these big businesses. They all want to sponsor the Premier League, not even cricket and rugby union, and these other sports are all getting trumped by rugby league at the moment. Whether it's we're just not getting the branding right over there, or I think it's just the competition, but. I think they're on the right track now. IMG have come in, and they're really taking hold of it. And it's the first time this year they've actually got all the games on TV, all televised.
Yeah.
Because until last year there was still games that weren't even televised.
Is the main broadcast Sky Sports? Is that right?
It's Sky Sports, yeah, and they've got like a sort of streaming service now.
Okay.
Sky League or whatever it's called, I think.
Fair enough.
League Plus. But then BBC have got more games as well this year, so it's good. First time the BBC have shown Super League games.
Speaking of the Super League, heading over there next year for 3 years. Huddersfield,
yes,
actually a place close to your heart. Grew up not too far.
Yeah, lads.
Talk to me about it.
It's obviously it was a big call for me to go back over there after being here for so long. Obviously, I got myself a young family now and another one on the way, so don't do things by halves, but yeah, like I always had it in the back of my mind that I'd like to go back, not finish off over there, but go back and play over there at some point in my career. And obviously Sam is back there now; he's coaching over there, and That was obviously one thing that I would have looked at. But then obviously, there was a few options.
That's good.
And then Huddersfield came in like hard for me, and I know the coach pretty well, Ian Watson. I worked with him in the Lions squad 1 year, and I really got on with him well, and he was a big factor of coming back. And then obviously getting a chance to go back to my hometown, like pretty cool. I'm going to be taking my family back to where it all began for me. Literally living 5Ks around the corner from where I went to school. So it'd be a pretty cool experience for me, and that was a big draw card for sure.
Fair enough. You said you had a few options. Options in terms of NRL clubs, or options over in the Super League, or was there even an option to, play under your brother Sam?
Well, yeah, I looked around, the NRL a little bit, but then probably the more likely option was to go to England and Super League. I knew the coach at the Catalans, so that was an option there. I was chatting to Catalans and Warrington. But yeah, like at the end of the day, Huddersfield came in hard, and yeah, Sammy, he sort of advised me. He said, "Look, as your brother, I would advise you to take the club there." He had to take his head coaching cap off and put his brother cap on, and he's good like that. He doesn't take it personally, and for me, it was the best option. 3 years. I get to go there, not rush anything, like settle in with my family, and then the timing's good to come back to Australia as well in 3 years' time.
Well, he's obviously doing pretty well with Warrington. First or second on the ladder at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's obviously first year in, and he's obviously made the Challenge Cup final too. Massive achievement to get to Wembley in his first year, and he's already poached one of Huddersfield's players. So he's good. He's good, mate.
Has it surprised you though? Has it surprised you that he'd be this successful this early in his coaching career?
Oh, for me, no, it's not, because I knew the coach he was. Obviously, playing with him at
We all
South,
know what he can bring. Yeah,
he was sort of coaching, in his playing days as well. He was that sort of player who was always coaching other players in his team and helping them be better, getting the best out of them. So they're the great, attributes as a coach.
Yeah.
And then obviously when he was assistant, and he went off and coached Aurora Valley and Axemen in the, country bush footy, and he ended up getting them to a grand final from nothing. So I know that he's a great leader of men, and he knows how to get the best out of people. And people want to, half the battle I think in rugby league is, as a coach, you want your players to play for you,
and respect
you. And that's honestly, like, if you can do that, you're going to be onto a winner. So, and it speaks for himself. Everyone respects him.
Well, he's always led by action, right? So whenever he speaks, his words carry a lot of weight. So, and you can see that it's been a pretty good transition for him.
No, so I'm really proud of him. Obviously as a brother and as a ex-teammate, sort of coached by him as well. So I knew he'd do well. I definitely knew he'd do well, and obviously he's overachieved his first year. He's got into a Challenge Cup final, and I think he's joint top in the league. So he's going well, and we'll just have to beat him next year when Huddersfield play him.
Yeah, 100%. You can't keep that over you. Could you see him coming back to the NRL eventually in coaching?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's that's probably his end goal. He's not like stupid though. He knows he's got to go over there and learn his craft, and obviously the pressure's not as big over there. I think on the coaches, like, you can probably make a few mistakes and trial a few things that you probably wouldn't be able to do over here, and get away with it. And I think he's done it really well. It's a really good plan for him to go over there and get that going, and then when he comes back, I'm sure he'll be having clubs going for him, whether it's at South or another club. I'm sure he'll have plenty of clubs looking for his signature.
I'm sure there's things you want to keep close to your chest, which is fair enough. And I've really been pushing and been a number one advocate for Sam to kind of really come back to South. So I feel like he'll be the number one coach going forward in the future. Obviously, they've signed Wayne for another 3 years. And what do you think? Do you think that's the right decision? Do you like seeing Wayne back at the club?
Yeah, Wayne made a real statement, I think, coming back. He had Parramatta coming hard for him.
Yeah, I saw.
And, it shows his care for the club, shows what he wants. It shows that he really does deeply care for the club and the players and the staff and everyone involved at South. So I can definitely, say that Wayne's coming back for the right reasons, and he wants to help the club, and I think he's the man for the job. He'll be able to bring some stability back to the club and just get everyone, like you said earlier, playing for the coach. Everyone who's played under Wayne respects him, and they all wanted to play for him when they played underneath him. So
yeah, I was going to say, like, everyone wants to know and hear from a player that's actually played under Wayne. And I was fortunate enough to obviously play that 1 year where we made that grand final, but you were there for quite a number of years, coached under him for a certain number of years. What's he like? What makes him so great and separates him from the rest?
Oh, well, I've touched on it already, but it's just the care factor. Like, he cares so much about his players on a deeper level. He don't just want you to be good players, he wants you to be good men as well. And he's always interested in what you're doing outside of football. He's always trying to get you to build yourself, build something up like outside of football, and making sure you're setting yourself up in life too. And that just, I think, says a lot about him. Like, it's not just about the football. He's just everything. So I think once you get that connection with your coach, you want, like you said, you want to play for him. You want to do that extra on the field when it gets tough. You want to play and you want to make him proud. And I think end of the day too, Wayne just is just a man's man. Like, he tells you how it is. He don't beat around the bush. If you're doing something wrong, he'll tell you straight between the ears, this is what I need from you. And he don't mince his words, which I like. He sometimes rip into you, and people can take it the wrong way, but I always loved it. He always used to just rip into me and say, "Oh, Tom, I'm wearing the job for thinking. That you don't think, mate." And he just tell me, like, just keep it simple. And I sort of loved it, because he just sort of he knows his players, and he tells them how it is. And like, he does this rating thing, like he rates everyone after a game out of 10, and straight, like, ruthlessly, he'll just say, "Mate, you didn't play half a game today, so you don't get a rating." That sort of thing.
And I don't think you get defensive from his, assessment of you. I feel he's got this way, this aura. Like, when he does tell you something, if he does shove a rocket up you, it's not personal.
No.
He's trying to get a reaction out of you.
I think for me, the best thing he ever said to me is, like, you'd rather be shot in the face, like the front, rather than the back. You'd rather be stabbed in the front than the back.
I agree.
And he says, we're all men, we can take it once we know.
Love it.
So that's why he used to always name his team at the start of the week. I loved that. And, like, obviously things can change, injuries and whatever. But he always used to be really upfront, and that was one thing they loved when he came into the England side was, he'd come in and his team selections were unheard of. Like, it was more like a comedy sketch, but he used to just name his team in the week and say, "Look, this is where you stand. You're all great players in your own right, and you're all, you won't be here if you're not. But this is the team this week, so you can all just get your prep right."
Yeah.
And players respect that. They
100%.
know, like, obviously there's disappointment. You probably face disappointment as well, but, like, you can deal with it once you know, and that's what he's best at.
Well, as a player, like, you respect his honesty straight off the bat, and knowing that you're playing or you're not playing early in the week, it gives you the chance to either prep for the game, but it also gives you the chance, if you're not playing, to really make a statement and train as hard as you can to make the team the following week. So I love that. I love that about him. He's black and white. He's, again, love that analogy that he gave, and it'll be interesting to see another 3 years at South. So,
he's definitely going to help the team, help the club. And that's the thing. He doesn't just take on the team, the playing group. He takes on the whole, whole culture of the club, from the staff and everything. And I think he'll do wonders for the club. And like, obviously he left the pathway there and it's not worked out. And he's coming back. So just I'm excited to see. I messaged him the other day. I said, unfortunately, my backflip clause is. It's done now. I can't. But I'm not as good as a backflip as other people. So
other people, not naming names.
The cooling off period is gone.
We're not naming names. Yeah, we're not naming names. I actually find funny about Wayne. He's never had a drop of alcohol in his whole life. Never had a drop of coffee his whole life.
Yeah.
I find that he's just highly disciplined, and
well, that's probably his secret as well, isn't it? Like they say, I think it's just been announced, like, #1 cause of cancer is alcohol now.
Wow.
So
I
they
did not know
found
that.
that out. But so like that's probably why it's still kicking and going well.
I was going to say, was Catalan Dragons, sorry, going off topic a bit, but Catalan Dragons, was that never an option, going to trying out in the south of France?
Yeah, that's what I said. So the coach, Steve McNamara,
Yeah.
I had him at Bradford.
That's what I mentioned it.
Bulls. So yeah, no, it was definitely an option. I was in talks with them. My manager was in talks with the owners at Catalans, and I was, chatted to Steve at lengths about coming down and living in the south of France. And the thing for me is I've been to south of France a lot. We used to go there 6 weeks every summer with my family because my mum's a French teacher.
Oh, well.
And my dad played in France as well, so he could speak a bit of French. So we always used to go camping in France for like 6 weeks the whole summer because my mum was a teacher. So like I know what it's all about. So it wasn't like a novelty for me to go there, but also I wanted to go to a club that I thought, could get silverware.
Yeah.
And Catalans was one of those clubs that have been up there, and they've got a really good setup there now. And Steve Mack, he was my coach at England as well, and Bradford. So I wanted to go somewhere that I knew what they were about, and Steve Mack was definitely fit the bill there. And obviously when I had to tell him I'd signed at Huddersfield, it was a tough conversation, but he understood my reasons as well.
I'm pretty sure you are aware of the chômage that the French government has in place. So if no one knows about it, you pretty much get 75% of your previous wage on the dole. And I know a few players like James Maloney, Dean Fade, guys that have finished up playing in the Super League, they get placed on the chômage for a couple of years, I think. And then at the same time, they're playing like B League, French Rugby League, and they're getting another, €1,000 a game, training twice
it's a good rot.
It's a top rot.
Chômage. He tried getting me with the chômage at the end. He said, "Oh, what about the chômage?"
I'm sure it's a draw card. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like for a few boys coming over here, but for me it wasn't, because when I finished my career,
totally makes
I'll
sense.
be coming back to Australia, and my base is in the Shire now, mate. So I've got to think about my daughters and my family and that sort of thing. So yeah, for me, when I'm finished with Huddersfield, 3 years, I'll be retiring, that's for sure. I'll be 35, and I'll be coming back to Australia.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for the heads up. Obviously, fresh off the bye.
You got me a job ready, mate.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We'll have that chair there always for you, 100%.
Right.
Well, you're fresh off the bye, coming off a great win against Parramatta. How's the vibe? What's the vibe like at Souths at the moment?
Yeah, it's, we've been positive. Obviously, it's not gone to plan this year. And it's been, it has been a struggle, but I thought, I think Benny's sort of handled it well as interim coach. He's sort of just simplified it down and, kept it positive at training. And that's what you got to do. Like when you're not getting the wins, you just got to come into training without doom and gloom. You just got to get on the field, train hard. And obviously, we've been doing that, and you won't know. Obviously at training, we just all get on with our jobs and do the work. And I feel like we have been progressing, even though the results haven't been coming our way. The little efforts in the games, like the little statistics that we look at, have been getting better. So we knew that a win was coming. Yeah. And you got to stay positive. Like,
there's no point. Yeah.
I've been through a lot of years where we've had good wins, and then 2 years at South we didn't make the playoffs. So I know how hard it can be when you're not winning. And for me, I've just tried keeping that energy positive and around the place. Like, obviously it's my last year, last dance. The boys keep laughing. Keep saying last dance.
Is that you've claimed the last dance yourself? You've been really pushing that.
But I keep pushing it, and the boys
keep reminding the boys, come on, make it a special year for me. Tom's last dance.
So we get a few laughs, and you got to laugh. You got to keep laughing, or else you struggle streak, mate. And like you said, we got the win on the weekend, and it was a big week for the club. Indigenous round, we've got a lot of proud Indigenous players in our club, and I love it, that round for South. I've always enjoyed playing with that jersey and representing those boys, and it was definitely a good week to get the win. And who knows, mate, we've got the bye this week. That's a guaranteed 2 points.
There's plenty of time.
There's plenty of time. To be honest, I think this year it's probably the most wide open league it's ever been. Like, anyone can sort of beat anyone on the day. Look at Cronulla's up at the top of the table, but then Penrith come beat them on the weekend, so by a lot. So I think it's definitely open.
100% it is.
We weren't far off against Penrith the other week, and then they ended going away with it in the second half. But that's the thing, like, if we just keep racking a couple of wins together, a couple of points, get up there, it's, we're not far off the 8. So
there's no point looking at the ladder now. And I think if
yeah,
there's one motivating factor, it's to prove everyone wrong. Everyone's already written off Souths.
that's it.
There's no secret. That's no secret, right?
Yeah.
You still got troops coming back. You got Junior coming back. You got Stretch coming back. Jai's got a couple of games under his belt with his match fitness. Man, it's up to you guys. Like,
that's the thing. Like, I think we just gotta. Yeah, obviously it's not gone to plan this year, but we just gotta
stick together.
Stick together.
It's a cliche, but it's the truth.
Mm.
You big on your shoe game? I don't think you're big on your shoes, but
I used to. I'm a big Kanye fan. It might not be the best thing to say right now.
Hey, each to their own.
But I used to wear these Yeezys all the time. So that was my only big
I do remember
shoe
this.
thing.
I
I
do
always used to
remember
wear
this.
Yeezys.
You always used to come in the
But
sheds with them.
I just thought they were really comfy.
Yeah, they are. They
So
are.
that was probably the only thing I've spent money on in terms of trainers.
Fair enough.
But I don't mind these New Balance now.
Yeah, not bad. You have any Nikes?
I don't have many. I've got some Air Force Ones
Okay.
that I bought in America.
Yeah.
They were good. So what have you got for me, mate?
Well, if you want to pick up that bag and dive into our proud sponsors, ShoeGrab have gifted you
I move
another
this out of the
pair.
way for a
You
sec?
can move out of the way. Yes, you can. Just bring it back when you're ready, and dive
Wow.
into that.
That's a bit bougie, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's very
Let's have a
bougie.
look. See
Don't
what-
crease the
Let's see
bag.
what we got inside here. I reuse that bag. Oh, here you go, Nike.
Open her up. And I took a pun. I didn't think you had a pair of these.
I don't have a pair of those.
Pretty big. What size foot are you?
13.
I'm a 13. How does that make
Thanks, mate.
sense? I'm barely hitting 6 foot.
Dunks. I'm just glad they're not black and white.
Why is that?
There's a bit of a bad juju about the black and white pandas, but I won't go into detail on it.
Oh, I find it hilarious about that story.
But,
I won't talk about it.
But yeah, they'll actually go with my outfit
Yeah.
today.
Love it. Love it.
They go well with the cream 4B pants.
Yeah. Oh, they're
them.
full B. Hey, what's going on with 4B?
Oh yeah, it's. Sorry, one sec. Let me put this back.
Yes, yes.
Thanks,
yes.
mate.
No.
Appreciate it. Shoegrab, the best. Been to see the boys out there. Sorted me out a couple of times.
Thank you, Jay and ShoeGrab.
Yes, lads.
Talk to me about 4B.
Oh yeah, 4B, mate. It's a tough one. It's like with clothing, it's always a never-ending conveyor belt of seasons and that sort of thing. And I think we just obviously we're pretty sort of basic in our clothes. It's more of a basic range at the moment, so we've had to put it on hold for a little bit. We've paused the website for now. A couple of people asking what's going on, so yeah, we paused the website. Sammy's obviously overseas.
Well,
Luke,
you're all in different stages of your lives.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like we set it up when we were all sort of had some time on our hands, and now Luke and George are working full time for a company. Sam's obviously got his hands full as a head coach, and I'm still playing.
Yeah, this is you, yeah.
So I think it was the best decision. At the moment, we're looking for like maybe potential investors to come on board, like
Fair enough.
venture capitalists, or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
venture
called.
capital, VCs, yeah.
VC. So yeah, maybe it's there. The brand's there. We've got some good clothing. I thought we put some good work into it. So who knows? Could be something down the track.
I'm still waiting for my gift package, but we won't get into that.
Mate, we've got some stock if you want.
Throw it to me.
I thought we'd sent you some.
Nah, never got that lucky. But I actually took your jumper once. I think it was hanging in in your locker. And I just swiped it. Wasn't
That's
expecting
all
it.
right,
I should have known it was going to be triple XL, but it's all right. I wanted to go touch on your early days in your footy career. You mentioned you played for the Bradford Bulls early on in the piece, and I'm actually quite surprised where they're at the moment. They were such a proud, strong club, and not being able to play in the Super League is obviously pretty disappointing.
Bulls. That's what I used to shout.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Bradford Bulls, mate. Honestly, growing up in the early 2000s, they were a powerhouse. And, yeah.
Yourself and Sam played for them, correct?
Yeah. So Sam was there. He obviously he had the pick of the league. Sam, when he was a youngster, he was like one of the best players coming through. So, and he chose Bulls because of the stature that they had. And I think his first year they made the prelim, and coming off the back of a grand final win in 2005. So and then that was sort of like the start of the demise a little bit. I played in 11 and 12 for Bradford, and yeah, it was just a tough time financially. The club was struggling. A lot of clubs struggle over there financially, and they had to let a lot of good players go, I think. But if you look at our squad back then, we actually had some really great players who've gone on and been, had great careers. We had Elliot Whitehead, John Bateman, Luke Gale was there, the English halfback, playing for us. We had some really great players, and they all had to leave the club. Like my last year, because I wanted to finish out my contract at Bradford. Unlike my other brothers, I like to see out contracts. but so like, I think they couldn't offer it. They couldn't even offer me a contract when I was leaving. So like when I was at the end of 2012, they said, "Look, Tom, we're really unfortunately we can't offer you the money you're on now," which was I think £50,000 back then a year. So that's when I looked at Wigan. Sean Wayne was at Wigan and he was interested, and they got on the phone. And I like Wayne. Obviously, since then I've worked with him for England. And they offered me a 3-year deal at Wigan. And I got on the phone to, obviously, South, and Georgie was big. He wanted me to come out here, I think, mainly because he wanted his twin back. And he wanted me to drive him around everywhere because he didn't have his license.
I always wondered that with like twins. Like, is there some connection that, like, what's the connection between George and the rest of your brothers like?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely, you've got that deeper connection with your twin just because you've experienced life with them, basically. Your whole life has been together, school, playing footy, everything, So like you definitely have that deeper connection with your twin, for sure. Like Sam and Luke, obviously they grew up closer and they've got probably a deeper connection as well. But we're all really, really close as brothers. But yeah, definitely your twin brother, identical twin brother is it's something you can't really describe. It's like they talk about mind reading. But you can actually sort of know what they're thinking because
amazing.
Because you've experienced, you think the same because you've experienced life the same.
That's crazy, man. So was there your driving force to come to Souths in 2013, or I think it was you, Luke, and Sam?
So I was the last one. So and my mum was like, "No pressure, Tom, but if you sign, I'm coming as well, because I'm a bit over the cold here in England." So I said, "Look." They only had a 1-year offer for me, and I said, right, I'm take a punt with South, and it was like minimum wage, I think, and I think matches, but yeah, 1-year deal ended up being 12. So
that's
pretty crazy how things work out, and I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason.
Likewise,
and I always remember the phone call with George. He was just like, "Just come, Tommy, don't have to pay rent, you live with me," or whatever. And he was even like saying that sort of thing just to get me out here. So
wow,
it always works out. And I think if you have the right mindset, things will come your way.
Well, it worked out in the best possible way because the following year you won the Premiership.
Well, that's it.
What memories do you have of that year? Like, did you always go in believing you had every team believes they have a genuine chance of taking out the Premiership and dream about it, but what was the driving factor for you guys to actually win that year?
Well, the thing is, like, I came in 13 and we had a gun side. Like we probably had a better side in 13 if we look back, and we were winning the comp 13. I think it was down to the last game to get the minor premiers against the Roosters. And I played in that game and we lost and we didn't get the minor premierships, but we thought, we'd be fine. Won the first round of the playoffs, got the week off, and then we obviously got beat by Manly and then went on to get beat by Roosters. But I think if you just look at the team we had, it was ridiculous, like the team. So there was a lot of confidence there, but I think we just needed to all just believe. And like Sam was a big part of that. He obviously instilled that. And then when I broke into the team, he was always into me, like, "Tommy, this," So he was a big mentor for me and George and Luke as well. Like even Luke was the older brother, and he used to come in and just we just had that brotherhood. I think that was the biggest thing we brought to the club was that tightness that we had as brothers. It sort of rubs off on the rest of the team.
I agree. Yeah,
and I think that was a big part of probably the last piece of the. I wasn't saying it was all on us.
No,
definitely not. We had guns like Greg Inglis, John Sutton, Adam Reynolds.
Even the young guys coming through, Dylan Walker,
AJ. I mean, even the older heads of Lottie Takiri, people forget, he played in that grand final too. And he was great for the team as well. So it just all came together. Luke Keary broke through at the same time as me. Like his number was 10.95, I'm 10.96. So like we came through at the same time, and I remember playing for the Bears and looking around, and we like if you look back at our Bears team back in 13, we were in the prelim. We should have won really, but I think we were all off it because the boys were on the Mad Monday.
That's always tough.
The boys were all shouting on the hill at Leichhardt because they lost to Manly on Friday night, and then we didn't play Sunday till at Leichhardt, and I was playing. It was just and then just like it didn't work out. So
Well, your former coach Michael Maguire is obviously the head coach for New South Wales. Do you think he'll be the right man for the job?
yeah, I think Madge is a great coach. He brings that intensity that you need, I think, at Origin. You know, and it's hard to say because obviously he's used to coaching through the whole season, and you get the pre-season and that. But 3 games of Origin, I'm really excited to see how the Blues go. Like I think his team selection's been pretty ballsy. He's gone for it, and he's not gone with the status quo of they'll pick this player and because they've been there before. And I think so. He's made some big calls, and I think that needed to happen.
Like I think everyone's got their opinions and agendas. And I put something out the other day on my Insta. It was just annoying me because, listen, man, the team's been picked. Everyone that has been picked in that team deserves to be in that side. There's no doubt in my mind. If I was gonna offer my opinion in terms of playing positions, I probably would have put Uppy starting, and I put Reece Robson on the bench. I just think Uppy needs to be there because you played with Uppy. He's got a very calming influence. He's got great deception out of dummy half. He's creative. And I thought that would have gone a long way getting us the win, but he stuck with Reece. I can understand the reason behind that. And the questions I wanted to ask about Madge, because I know he's a very hard-nosed coach, and you've been under a few training camps and, pre-seasons under him.
Yeah.
What was the training like back in those days?
I think Madge was good. Like he never asked you to do anything that he wouldn't want to do as himself.
Okay.
He loved to train hard too, and there's definitely a place for it. You need that hard nosed training, but then there's a time for recovery as well.
Of course.
It's just getting that balance right. But for me as a young bloke coming in, I loved it. I loved just ripping in and trying to beat everyone at training, and that sort of competition that he drove at training was a big part of why we were successful for those couple of years. And
what was the wrestling sessions like back in those days? I've heard some stories.
They were long. They were long and hot, and in pre-season in the middle of summer, I remember we used to get in these gyms, like the jiu-jitsu gyms, like the matted gyms, and just get the jerseys on, and there was no water, no drinks were allowed the whole time. So you're sweating for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're just gagging for water.
A drop of water. You're drinking the sweat coming off your brow.
You finish your session and you've got like a Powerade, a protein, and a water waiting for you, and you just like skull all 3 of them, and you're nearly sick afterwards. But like stuff like that, it's just like probably sports science wouldn't agree with it, but it's more of a mental thing as well.
Oh, big time.
Building that mental resilience, and at the end of the day, we play such a tough game. Mentality is massive. Like if you don't got the right mentality, if you're not strong between the ears, you're gonna crumble. And he was really good at that.
Well, you just said it, because majority of the players that play in the NRL, I should say at least 80-90%, are fit, strong.
Yeah.
But it's the mental side of the game that's that's theirs.
Yeah.
That no one really talks about.
Getting that balance right. Obviously, you want to instill that mentality. And I thought, he obviously loved his army camps and that sort of thing. And they're really hard when you're doing them and tough. But I actually see the value in them now. I won't say that too loudly though. If Huddersfield, don't do them in Huddersfield. It's too cold over there. But yeah, like definitely he builds that that you've done together, that mentality,
camaraderie as well.
So like he was really good at that, and I think just today's game, I just see so many injuries now, and you just really have to get that balance right with the training, the loads that the players are doing on the field now. I think a lot more, the speeds are hitting, so they're just I think it's a tough job as performance guys of getting that right, because very, very close to the edge. If you go a little bit too more, you're going to get injured.
I'm going to ask you about that, the speed of the game. But before that, speaking of army camps, I love hearing an army camp story. And I'm sure you've got some pearlers that you can share. Anything that comes to mind?
Oh, well, the one that sticks in my mind is like, obviously my first one. So at South 2013, we just got absolutely fed out at Hallsworthy by the two commando boys. So it was the commando boys running it. And I always just remember the gun range scene. So they got us in this massive gun range and they're playing this song, I'll never forget it. Danger Zone.
Yeah.
I went to the and they just had it must be like a mental like torture thing. So they put it on repeat, and we were in this gun range and said, right, no one's allowed to speak. There's a big mound of white and brown rice, and you got to sort out the brown rice and the white rice into separate piles. And it was just a bit of a mind fuck, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, you can.
And so basically, but then every now and then the commando guys would come in, grab someone, pull them out, and like flog them for like 45 minutes in this, they called it the lanes. And then you'd all be like thinking, wow, where are they going? And they'd come back like, couldn't even walk. They'd come back and you'd be like, oh shit, what's happened here?
I'm next.
And then they'd be like, you, and then they'd pick you and you'd all be like, it's just messing with your head, and that sticks in my mind. But yeah, the Danger Zone song, I could never listen to that again.
I don't fucking
Sometimes I'll play it in the gym and like AJ and Sut, they're the last two that are left from that camp, and they'll just like look like.
Well, isn't that crazy? Just you and AJ left from that Premiership winning side. Left. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. It's obviously, I mean, it's such a tough game now, isn't it, to be able to stay.
You've done a good job
in the game for so long. I've been lucky with injuries and that sort of thing, and it's terrible when you see players get injured and those really like season-ending injuries. And I've touch wood, I've been pretty lucky, and that's a big part of how I've been able to stay on the field. And obviously, I only play half a game, so it's pretty easy. Well,
that's what I was going to talk to you about. That was my next question. So you've spoken about the speed of the game. There's not many front rollers your size left in the game, due off the back of the speed, the ruck.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to kind of adapt to the game currently?
Yeah, I mean, it's forever changing, like you said. And when they brought the 6 again rule in, that was hard. And that took some adjusting because, it'd get quick through the middle there when the 6 again gets called. And it's like, you do nearly 18 tackles in a row sometimes.
I reckon because of that rule, that and the 7 tackle set, those two are the main factors of why there's so many injuries going on in the game at the moment. And speaking from someone from the RLPA, is that something you guys are looking at?
They're always trying to work with the game. RLPA are always big on the partnership. We want to be partners in the game, not like they tell us what to do, sort of. So yeah, we're always working on that as a partnership. But yeah, I think obviously that they're looking at the game and what they want as a product, and obviously people like to see a fast-paced game and don't want to see big plodders plodding around all the time. But obviously we want to see the big hits as well. So there's a balance, and I think the fans love to see the big players still out there, and that's part of the game, innit? You meet the players and you're like, oh, he's massive and that sort of thing. So I think we still need to, we're not AFL, we're not, we need to keep those big sort of players in the game, I think. And they need to keep looking at it, because or else we'll all just be running around like.
Has the injuries ever been brought up in discussion, like the toll at the moment? Because it's pretty noticeable.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of soft tissue injuries.
There's definitely would be there's always discussions about injuries, but obviously players, you sort of, you're not in those discussions. It's more of a coaches and performance staff discussion. But yeah, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. Yeah. So it is something I think the game as a whole will have to look at and look at ways that they can sort of either extend the bench, that sort of thing. I think there's talks of that, like having 6 players on the bench and being.
I like that.
You can only use 4, but like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that.
I think the 18th man can definitely be activated.
Yeah.
If necessary.
But like I think you could have more players, like a bit like Union. You have more players on the bench. Like you got more cover.
Union soccer.
Because you're seeing people getting knocked out nowadays, and you can't go back on. It's like halfback gets knocked out, you should have a spare one on the bench.
I agree.
And then
I agree.
So I think that's where the game might be going. But who knows? We just got to end of the day, yeah, hopefully we can work in partnership with the RLPA and find a good solution. But you know, I think we're in a good spot at the moment with the game, but I think they've just got to be mindful of like injuries and that sort of thing.
You in the last year, you were put in a pretty tough predicament and position. Obviously, same as your brother and assistant coach kind of exited the club. How did you kind of separate your emotion and just keep it purely business? Because obviously you would have been put in a tough position.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're in a business, you know, and we're all professionals. Obviously, on a personal note, I missed him around the place day to day, being my brother and that sort of thing.
It's natural, man.
Yeah, but I think you know, I thought, you know, at the end of the day, I just had to stay positive and keep my professionalism with the club. Obviously, I love the club. I want to do what's best for the club, and you know, at the end of the day, they made that decision, and that call was made. And you know, to be fair to Sam, he's gone on and done great things. And I think, like I said earlier, everything happens for a reason. And he was going overseas, and I think he's, you know, good on him, and he's done great over there. And but for me, I was just happy to keep doing my job for South and keep fulfilling my, you know, duties.
Yeah, there's no doubt it would have been tough on you, 100%. And I think, well, for me, looking outside in, the driving force for you, knowing that it was your last year at Souths, that probably kind of, you wanted to make the most of it. Like, you've been at the club for what you said, 12 years now. You know, it's the first NRL club to give you the opportunity to come over here. So I think there's a very deep love that you have for that club. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, Souths have been, you know, they've been unreal for our family. Like, we've all come out here and they've sort of give us a lot, and you know, we've obviously give ourselves to the club as well. But you know, you always want to show your respect to the club that give you that opportunity, and you know, obviously Russell was a big part of that, and we love Russell and all that. So yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have stayed at South forever and just kept playing until my legs fallen off. But I'm realistic. I knew that it was coming to an end. You know, to be able to say I think I'm second most capped now for South.
You are.
As a, you know, English lad coming over, I would have never guessed that. And now I'm really happy of what's happened here at South, and really proud of my time here, and not like sad that it's over now. I'm just happy that it happened, and
it was always going to come to an end, obviously.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, like, to play 12 years at a great club like South and have some great success, and you know, play with some unreal players throughout my career, I'm really over the moon, and I'm just really excited to finish off my career in a good way at South. And whether, you know, that's not just results, that's, you know, feeling of, you know, players that you play with, being a good teammate, that sort of thing. And yeah, and then going on to my next chapter is really exciting too.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I suppose we speak about legacy a fair bit. My brother's, like my dad's legacy and that sort of thing, and I always like to be remembered as someone that, you know, was approachable, like really easy to talk to, happy, you know, go lucky, and he could have a laugh when he needed to, and but also train and be serious when he needed to do, and get the job done as well on the field.
Love that.
Yeah.
You've spoken about your dad. If you're comfortable sharing, I know you lost him at a pretty young age to MND. Tell me what that must have been like for you, for a young lad coming up, and what is the disease? Yeah, so a motor neuron disease, obviously, it was fairly unknown back then. Yeah. When my dad got it, no one really knew what it was. I definitely didn't know what it was at, you know, 13, 14-year-old, and like, it's just sort of obviously it attacks your neurons. Like, your motor neuron is what sends a message from your brain to your muscles. So you basically attacks those things. So your fingers and thumbs and toes go first, that sort of thing. But like, it affects everyone differently, and obviously it affected my dad's speech as well, which was hard. And he obviously lost his speech. So as a, you know, a young lad, it was really hard. But my dad, I think he was really good at making light of it as well. He was always trying to make jokes about, you know, this, that, and like, he couldn't eat his food or whatever, and he'd like spit it out and just have a joke about it and that sort of thing. And that's what I remember, and that's obviously one thing that I try and take on in my life as well. Like, he used to say, if you're not
laughing, you'll cry. So he was big on that, and yeah, I've always his legacy lives strong through all the brothers, and you know, we've always, ever since obviously that tragedy's happened, we've always been close and always got each other's backs.
Yeah, because there was Carl Webb just recently passed from M&D as well. I think as well Rob Burrow as well.
Yeah,
He's suffering from it as well.
Yeah,
and
Rob Burrow is doing great work right in England for the the awareness. Obviously, Neil Danaher too over here in Australia. He set up a charity called Fight M&D.
Yep.
And they've raised so much money over the last. This year it's going to be the 10th big freeze that they're doing.
Yep.
So that's massive. The amount of money they've raised over here is unreal, and the AFL community have really got behind them. But it's really sad. Like, it's just like obviously 3 people set it up, that charity, and Neil's the only one left now because they all had M&D. So yeah, it's a really tough one because M&D it kills you so quickly. You know, like that's why it's so hard to research, because people who have it aren't living off.
Is it a form of brain cancer? Oh no, are those two separate?
No, it's separate. Obviously, it's the motor neurons in the brain which are struggling, and they're dying. So it's part of it. It's a brain disease, which is similar, obviously, but yeah, obviously it's similar with the beanies and everything.
Yeah, because I want to know where the correlate
brain cancer. So obviously we've got the beanies for brain cancer, and then we've got the beanies for Fight M&D. But it's a really good initiative, and I think the NRL community is getting really like they have done with the AFL, getting behind Neil Danaher and Fight M&D. The NRL community now are getting behind Mark Hughes and the beanies for brain cancer and Mark Hughes Foundation, and we're good friends with the Hughes family, and they've always been great to us ever since before I even moved here. I knew Hughesy, so yeah, I've always been a big advocate for them too.
Speaking on Mark Hughes Foundation, round 15 is Beanie for Brain Cancer round. So if you are at the games, make sure you buy a beanie, support this great foundation, and everyone that has been affected, and let's keep raising awareness and trying to eradicate brain cancer. So everyone get behind it and really support this amazing initiative.
Yes, for sure.
Our next block is a bit of fun.
Yes.
What's in the sauce?
What's in the sauce?
What's in the sauce? You like that? Like a little spin?
Don't tell me I've got to try some hot sauce. Or...
Nah, actually, that's actually a good idea. I might actually put that in there. So let's warm you up straight off the bat.
All right.
How old are you?
32 now.
I have to think about that. Okay, if you were born 4 years ago, how old are you?
4.
Oh, he's off to a good start.
Yeah, you got me thinking there, though. I nearly said 28.
I thought I had you because, it took him some time to answer his age. You're a twin. Next question. You're a twin.
Yep.
I can only imagine what you could get away with as a twin. Off the top of your head, give me your best story with your twin brother, George.
Yeah, well, there's a great story. One year, because in my high school, we had 9 sets of twins in our year. So they made a point of separating all the twins for some reason. I don't know. But so I wasn't in any of George's classes at school.
Yeah.
Which was weird. I was like in his PE class, and that was it. So one day, April Fool's Day, 1st of April, we thought it'd be funny to swap classes for the whole day. And being twins, obviously thinking alike, we both thought it would be funny to see how many detentions we could get in our brothers' names. So I was just like doing the wrong thing all day, like pretending to be naughty and that sort of thing, just to get detentions.
I love that.
And I think I got like 3 detentions racked up for George, and he got the same. And then at the end of the day, we came clean and said, "Oh, we've just been joking with you," but they didn't find it funny.
Of course not.
They got mum and dad in, and my mum and dad were laughing. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
I've got 2 best mates. They're twins as well, and one of them's got a jet ski license, the other doesn't. And whenever the twin that doesn't have a license goes on the water, whenever he gets checked, he just uses his brother's details and always gets away with it. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I've never done anything like that.
No, of course not. We're all good here. Speaking of twins as well, the Dragons, they've got Max, the Fangai twins, and the Couchman twins playing in the same game. 2 sets of twins. Fucking bizarre. Anyway, had to put that out there.
That's the thing with twins and brothers. Like, I feel like people always like, how do these brothers all make it? Like, it's so hard for someone to make it, but it just proves that the mindset If you have that same mindset as you were obviously as your twin or your brother, you're gonna get there. And like it's that sort of reinforcement. I think I spoke about it recently. Like Sam was such obsessed with football, like and rugby from a young age. I think it just sort of rubbed off on the rest of us. And I sometimes think if Sam wasn't him, or if we didn't have Sam as a brother, would we have made it? Because that obsession rubbed off on us, and obviously not to the that he is, but we still made it.
Well, he's the second oldest too. So do you reckon it rubbed off on Luke as well? Or was Luke as well very invested in rugby league?
Well, 100% rubbed off on Luke, but Luke had to go the hard way, and he was like working and didn't get it straight into first team. He was doing an apprenticeship with my dad,
Okay.
and then he realised, Sam's made it. Sam's in first team at 17. I can do it as well. So that's what, and he ended up making his debut after Sam
Oh, okay.
for Leeds.
It's interesting, twins. It's interesting with the Dragons. There's something in brewing in the water there. You got the Morris twins, Fango twins, now the Couchman twins. So whatever you guys.
When Georgie was at the Dragons, when the
Yeah.
Fangai twins were there, and he said they were funny. They're just they're joined at the hip. Those two, they don't leave each other's side.
That's interesting. I love that. So you've been at South for over a decade now. What differences are there when you first started to now, in your opinion?
You know what? This is controversial, but I feel like the singles club was bigger. You know, like just hear me out on this.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know if it's because we're an older team, but when I first came to South, I feel like everyone was nearly, like, at least half the team was single, and now like I think there might be one person in our whole team that's single.
Wow, there's a big difference.
So yeah, that's the difference.
Oh,
Maybe it's just like everyone's just having kids earlier now.
can imagine the stories that you got and the stuff you guys were getting up to when.
Maybe it's just all the controversy around the game. Everyone's just like, I can't be bothered with this anymore.
You know what? Fuck it, it's the safe option,
let's
right?
just get a bird,
It's the safer option these days.
But that's one thing I was thinking the other day. I was like, there's no single boys anymore. There's no like funny stories anymore.
Saying that, it's the same thing at Penrith. So when I first started in Penrith, same like, I had missed the time, and then we broke up, and that period, like a lot of the boys, like a lot of single guys, and then towards the back end, everyone's got a missus now. Like,
yeah,
there you
it's
go.
the iPhone, mate. The invention of the iPhone.
Yep.
That's what got George a beauty.
Yeah, it's got a few of years of beauty. I was gonna say, speaking of relationships and that, I don't know if you've watched Ashley Madison on Netflix.
Ashley Madison.
Do you know what Ashley Madison is?
Is that the hair growth thing? Oh no, that's Ashley Madison. That's Ashley Madison. What's Ashley Madison?
So let me, you got to watch it. It's on Netflix. Everyone listening. So Ashley Madison was a site. This is early 2000s that was made to purely go on, register, get a membership, and have an affair.
Really?
Crazy. So they.
Good thing I didn't know about it then.
Yeah. So yeah, you had to sign up. Obviously, giving your details and whatnot, and you get a profile, and everyone that's on the site is married, right?
Okay.
But obviously, the partner doesn't know that you signed up to it. It's all in discretion.
Yeah,
It's all discreet.
I get you.
You know where I'm going. And how they spun it was the guys had to pay a membership, and you had to pay per text, per message on the site. All right.
Really?
So it's pretty much one night stands with married couples, pure discretion. You're just getting, it's just sex, purely sex, right? And the girls were just going on for free. Crazy. Anyway, it all unfolded. Make sure you watch it. I don't want to spill the beans and ruin it for you, but it all
So it's a
fucking
Netflix
blew up.
show.
It's 3 episodes. It all blew up, but now they're still in operation.
Really?
So just don't fucking sign up. Fucking be loyal, you cunts.
I might watch that with the missus.
I watched it with my missus. It was a bit fucking weird, but anyway. True or false? You're the better twin and player out of yourself and George. False. Why?
We're both the same.
I've
played longer.
Very diplomatic. I
I've
love
played
it.
longer, so I've sustained it longer. But
You've had
I
longevity.
think on his day, George was probably more damaging than me, to be honest.
Okay.
Like if you look at his form when he first came into the game, like he used to just run over people and powerful. Like he was probably like an inch shorter than me, George, and he's just a bit more nuggety.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
and I just never saw him fail a rep in the weights gym. Like I never saw him fail on the bench squat. Like he was more powerful than me for sure.
That's
I think
interesting.
maybe his levers were like a little bit shorter. And I remember we were
Like
at school. We after school we used to go to the gym at like 14, 15, and I just didn't want to do it. I was like, I'm not doing that yet. Like,
Yeah.
And he just loved it. So I think he's a bit more like Arnie, you know, like the bump.
I've got a good memory of George when he first come to the club. I was in my last year 20s, I think, and I went to the gym to do some extras, and I was in the physio. You know, in Redfern, you got the physio room. You can see into the gym, and I see George in their shirt off, sweating bullets, just glistening off his body. It's a bit
Dolph
sus,
Lundgren.
a bit sus. But anyway, he was pumping curl and presses with 30 kilos, and I was like doing it with ease. I was like, what the fuck? Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was
That's
in
the
awe.
thing. Like, on his day, like,
He was
mate,
a powerful man.
He was hard to stop, and then even now, like he's just look at the size of him now. He could still play. He could still run over anyone in the league, but he just probably only lasts a couple of minutes.
Fair enough. Lucky last. Your riddles. I know you like them.
Yep.
Okay. You're in a room with 3 monkeys. Okay. One has a stick, one has a banana, and one has nothing. Who is the smartest in the room?
One has a stick, one has a banana.
And one monkey has nothing.
Who's the smartest? Me.
Oh! Good job. Good job. I thought I was going to get you. You're very deceiving. You know, like people like take the piss out of you. Damien wanted me to ask you, why do they call you Full Stop?
Because when I feel like something needs to be said, I'll say it, and a lot of the time it's after what everyone's been saying. So that it's like a full stop on top of what everyone else has been saying. Cody Walker came up with that one. But honestly, if it needs to be said, I'll say it. I don't care. So full stop.
I love it. I used to remember the video sessions.
I've learned throughout my life, mate, you just can't care what people think about you.
Spot on.
Can't
mate.
please everyone.
Exactly.
Bit of knowledge there for you, mate.
I learned that late in my career, unfortunately, but I did learn it.
Yeah.
Now, we had Gus, Angus Crichton, last week on the show.
That's it.
Yeah, and you played a couple seasons with him. And he wrote you a question.
Really? Did you know he was giving it to me?
I don't think he did. I can't
I was
remember.
going to say
to be
that'd be
honest.
interesting if he did.
Yeah, I know. So
I suppose you can't say who it's for because you don't know.
exactly. It
You
ruins the.
You didn't know I was going to be a good bloke and come on, did you? So
Yeah, no, I didn't actually. I had my doubts. No doubt
let's
in
have
the
a
world.
look.
No doubt in the
So I can
world.
open it.
Yes, you go. Go for it.
Oh, let's see what Gus is a bit out there, so this could be anything. Oh, that's pretty PG actually.
Okay.
What is your funniest story from an away trip / boys trip? Angus Crichton.
Ooh.
Funniest story from an away trip.
This is going to have to be filtered, obviously.
Nice. There's just so many, isn't there? Like, funniest story. Oh, mate. It's happened this year.
Oh.
But, like, I don't know if we can say it just yet.
Oh, come on. Come on.
It was in America this year when we went to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was just hilarious.
You can't share
Can
it?
we speak in code or?
Yeah, go. Speak code.
Well, I won't say who was there.
Yeah, don't say. Don't say who.
But like we went and stayed in San Diego for for 10 days.
Yeah.
So we had a camp there,
Mm-hmm.
and if you know your geographies, if it's close to the Mexican border.
Oh,
But we're very close to the Mexican border, and we thought, we've got a couple of days off here. Let's tick this off the box. Let's go to Tijuana.
yeah.
and go over the border. And I actually rented a Tesla. I had a Tesla Model X over there. So I had this guy, and we got one of the boys had met this Uber driver.
Okay.
And he was up for driving the Tesla across the border for us. So we drove the Tesla across the border. We'd been having a few beers or whatever. I went to Tijuana. And honestly, it was the best night ever. Like nothing happened. Like it was just a really good night. And we were just like, couldn't believe we were in Tijuana, Mexico. You know, I love my tequila.
Me too.
And it was the best night. And then we got back from there and we realised how actually dangerous it is there.
Shit, fuck, what a drug capitals of the world.
But we didn't know that. We were just like, we want to go to Mexico and that. And then, yeah, they were like, oh, good thing the mafia weren't there or the cartel wasn't there. Because they come through and just like take over sometimes.
Oh my God.
But like, that was a pretty cool story. I'm glad I ticked it off the list.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if I'm allowed to speak about that just yet.
Well, you've spoken about it and it's staying. So,
So yeah, Tijuana, if anyone's not been there, it's a great night.
Okay.
Don't worry about the cartel.
Fucking hell. It's a bit of a touchy subject going to Mexico, obviously what's happened there lately, but yeah, we won't get into that.
And that's the thing. That's the other crazy thing. Like these boys, you know, unfortunately, it's not far from where we were.
Fuck.
So that's the other thing. We were like, shit, you know, like
could have been us.
But like we were pretty smart, you know, and we had someone there with us that was a local.
And Mexicans aren't usually your size, so you would have definitely stood out.
They were very accommodating. They you know, they were good.
Bit of a negative preconceived notion, I think, from a lot of people.
But yeah, there's no dramas, you know, and that's good. It should be a good advertisement for the NRL and NRL players. We can go to Tijuana for a night out and not have any dramas.
Exactly right. Should trust us, and that's why we're going to Vegas for the next few years.
Let's do a round in Tijuana.
That could be anything. Now, mate, I'm really excited to get you on the pen and write a question for our next guest.
Oh yeah.
I know you're going to ask me who it is, but I don't know yet. So
yeah,
and I'm not going to tell you if I did.
My handwriting's better than Angus's, just quietly.
Really? I don't mind Angus's writing. I'm not going to show my handwriting. My fucking writing's terrible. Didn't really apply my academics in school as much as I should have, which is one of my regrets. That's why I'm sometimes fucking illiterate.
All right. Done.
Done. Sign it up. Did you sign it?
Signed it.
Did you?
What?
Nah. How good.
That was pretty good, eh? Did you get through everything you wanted to?
You want to put the microphone close to your mouth?
No, we're not back on yet, are we?
We're back on, yeah. We are actually back on.
Back on.
We are actually back on. Oh yeah, lick it. You got to lick it.
Hello. Lick the microphone.
No, you got to lick the.
No, you don't, mate. It's just a sticky one.
I've got it. Yeah, I can't get you.
I just lick it anyway.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Excuse me. Is there any more water? Oh, there we go. I was gonna say, is there any more water?
Yeah.
And I put my hand on the water. Thanks, mate. I'll use this nice cup though.
Yeah, it is. It's very aesthetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's before we wrap up?
You don't do makeup on this.
Yeah. Well, man, I got this skin routine done. It's like a laser, and it's meant to fix your aging or some bullshit.
You're very vain, aren't you?
I'm not vain. No, I'm not vain. I wouldn't say I'm vain. I like to look good. That's not being vain at all.
I'd say everyone I've ever played with is probably the most vain.
Give me an example.
Just like your rig, you're taking your shirt off and like in your tan and that sort of thing, and then lasers like under here and
yeah, that's
no
not
hair on your body.
But that's not being vain. That's just me being.
If you went bald, you'd definitely be going to Turkey, wouldn't you?
Speaking of getting bold, you do not put your head down because you're very close.
But that's the thing, mate. I'm happy. I'll let it go when it goes. I'll go.
Matt Lodge, comeback of the century. Like
I seen him actually in Brisbane. I thought might have to get his number and see where he went.
Get some recommendations.
But I'm actually not going to be far from Turkey, am I? So
what's that? 5 hours from England?
Yeah, not far.
Anything? All right. So before we wrap up, anything interesting coming up for you?
Anything interesting? Well, I've got a baby due in August.
Well,
got to pack my whole house up into boxes.
Do you know what you're having? Boy,
no,
girl?
we don't. I'm going to keep it a surprise.
Yeah,
Did you find out?
I found it for all three.
Did you?
All three, yeah.
You just can't wait, can you? No patience.
No, it's not that. As you know, I love preparing for anything. So,
Early prep.
Early prep, correct. So,
you was always in the gym first, early prepping, weren't you?
He's all after me. He's all laughed.
Yeah, so we found out with our first, but then didn't find out with our second LED, and we thought it was better.
Fair enough.
So we're, obviously two girls, so another one on the way.
My foresight's telling me it's going to be another girl. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
No.
But that's not an apology.
I'm happy with whatever. I would love another girl. I love another boy. I love a boy. I mean, win-win for me. So.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's always good seeing you and always having a good yarn. And good luck this weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Go hard.
Cheers. If you know a good removalist, let me know.
I won't be helping you.